Whether it's the spectacle of military might or the splendor of the natural world, we're mesmerized by extraordinary images. And the bigger, the better. Movie making was taken to extremes more than 35 years ago by a Canadian invention called IMAX. Large format movie technology has spread around the world. This year alone, 75 million people will watch IMAX films. And they'll watch them on screens 10 times bigger than normal. Screens that envelop the audience, even lower over them. Screens so big, architects and engineers are forced to construct theaters around them. IMAX movies are created on locations like the desert canyons of Nevada. 19 of them are in production, and this is one of the most ambitious. The crew starts at daybreak and don't waste any time setting up. They need clear weather because big film demands big light. They only have 10 days to get the shooting done.
It's quite possible in IMAX, unlike, I think, dramatic films, we don't have a fallback position. If the light's bad, you know, we could go days without getting a shot.
One of the things that makes IMAX distinct is the size of the film. Most movies are shot on film that is 35 millimeters wide. The IMAX image is 10 times bigger. The frames run along the length of the film, allowing bigger images to be reproduced. Big film calls for big cameras. It takes 2 people to lug IMAX equipment. The cameras on this shoot weigh up to 45 kilograms. It's slow going when it's time to change locations.
It's the whole production. I mean, you see how difficult it is to move these cameras around, and we go through 1,000 feet every 3 minutes.
IMAX film is in boxes as big as suitcases. The unexposed rolls lie flat on the camera rather than upright. They're carefully loaded. A roll is worth more than $1,000, twice as much as standard film.
If you nick the film at all, if you damage it in trying to put it into the movement, there are several rollers that it has to go through and registration pins that have to grab the film. And really, you just have to be sensitive about not damaging it. Because then if you try running it through the camera, it'll break film.
After it's in place, the new negative gets a test run. The camera assistant checks for any problems. Then the container is sealed with tape. Like the film in a still camera, exposing this movie film before it's processed would ruin it. This movie is tentatively called Red Flag, after a major Air Force training exercise. It's a 45-minute documentary and will cost $6 million. IMAX is the most expensive movie format ever. Dozens of pilots are involved in the making of Red Flag, and more than 100 aircraft, including some of the most impressive fighter jets. The F-15E Strike Eagle and the F-16 Falcon.
1 minute. Okay, Bill, do you want to see it first or you want to shoot it?
What grabs audiences about this technology is how real the images look.
Okay.
IMAX cameras record the world closer to the way our eyes see it.
Most shots are basically done the way that your eyes would see it if you were there on the day at the moment. That's really what we're striving for most of the time.
It works by using wide-angle lenses. They provide a broader point of view than standard lenses. Because these IMAX cameras can't just zoom in on the action, they have to be right in the middle of it. The jets are so loud, the crew wears earplugs. They also keep their eyes peeled for incoming danger. A military coordinator guides the pilots by radio to get the best shot.
If you just maintain level to slightly climbing, it'll be perfect.
Yeah, make sure that you're 100 feet when you...
Almost all IMAX films are documentaries. But often, scenes have to be highly engineered.
Very nice. Well done. Thanks, Sam. Good work. Thanks, guys.
The destruction of this convoy will be the biggest scene of the day. It's been in the works since dawn. 14 pyrotechnics experts have rigged 75 individual explosions. They'll go off one after the other in what's called a walking bomb run. That's if nothing breaks the chain.
There's so much action, so many things happening. And some things are on the gravel and the dirt, and all this stuff starts flying around at ground level. Well, if one of these rocks or pieces of debris gets to one of these cords or wires before it's used and cuts it, stops.
Hidden in the vehicles are 70 boxes of gasoline and 12 bottles of ammonium nitrate, connected by detonating cord buried in the desert sand. 2 A-10 Warthogs will stage the attack.
That was good. For those two, we need to get the other. Comes the other one.
This is what they look like in combat. For the film, they have to fly low over the convoy without getting too close to the action. They have to get it right before the actual explosion.
I think they're kind of running in a different angle. We'll see what it looks like.
When the first two ship hits the front, I'm going to cue the explosions. We'll see what that might look like.
Most of the film crew takes cover. Firefighters are ready for the worst.
And we can take care of pretty much any kind of major trauma that might happen due to the explosions or anything else that might go on out here.
The main IMAX camera is set up near the convoy and left to run by itself. Everyone holds their breath. At the end of the day, a spectacular moment is captured for the giant screen. But tomorrow, the IMAX cameras will be close to a different kind of danger. 7 hovering Pave Hawk helicopters. It's another tough day of shooting for the extreme screen. A downed pilot signals his position with colored smoke. The IMAX camera is bolted to a 15-meter crane. The crane allows the camera to get near the speeding aircraft and offers a remarkable view of the desert landscape. When the movie screen is this big, the audience is there, in the action. IMAX theaters are designed so that the screen fills the entire front wall. It monopolizes the audience's field of vision. The rows of seats are placed on an extreme slant, a 45-degree angle. Everyone gets a clear view. When the IMAX camera is well placed in the field, it gives people an extraordinary experience.
We want the audience to be sitting somewhere where they can't be in reality and actually see it for their own eyes. That's the essence of the IMAX experience.
Any aircraft, this is Knife 01. Knife 01, this is board 20, state your location. 2,000 meters and it did. Knife 01, board 20 is visual with your position. Stand by for job.
Unlike most Hollywood movies, the lead in Red Flag is no actor. He's a 29-year-old from Florida and a real jet fighter pilot.
It's going to give people an ability to really see what we do at Red Flag and also on a day-to-day basis, so it's going to be really neat, I think.
IMAX audiences have grown to expect more than just real subjects. They want to be thrilled. For the next scene, the director of photography gets down in the dirt to line up the shot.
We have a rocket here, and we're going to put the camera up high, and then we're going to try to get as close to the camera without hitting the camera as possible. That's the challenge.
Unarmed ground-to-air missiles are loaded. The crane is lifted, and everybody stands back. From a distance, the explosions may not be impressive, but a glance in the video monitor shows they got the shot. The crew goes to great lengths to get close to the action. For some scenes, the cameras are barricaded behind plywood with windows just big enough for the lenses.
Nice, I think we're good. This is plexiglass. It's just a, small piece of clear plastic. It's very clean and shiny.
This afternoon, the cameras are wrapped in plastic. The crew dons hard hats. They carefully move the crane into position. The director of photography operates the camera from a safe distance.
We're okay.
Two rotary handles position the mounted camera by remote control. All because the choppers are inbound. 7 Pavehawk helicopters are involved in the rescue scene. When they hover close to the set, the 16-meter rotors create a blinding sandstorm. Hollywood cameras would be positioned far away from the flying debris, but IMAX cameras have to be dangerously close to be in focus. Extreme screens are pulling people away from their televisions and into IMAX theaters. There's a growing appetite for colossal images.
You can't just sit close to your television and get the same experience. The scale of the screen, a lot of the screens are the size of an 8-story building, and the quality, it makes it very much more real than just a small screen sitting close.
But this scene is going to be particularly tough to capture. The helicopters are so loud, the crew can barely hear.
Well, it's tricky anytime you got incredibly loud noises. I had to yell at people for a while, and that's hard. But we got it in the end.
The helicopters are very close together, and the rescue squad isn't used to playing to a camera. The crew can't move the cameras too quickly or too often. The image is so big, movement can be irritating on the giant screen. It will take more than a week to finish the desert scenes for Red Flag. While the rush is on to get the shooting done, behind the camera, there's another kind of race.
Every image is so large, you need a lot more of it than regular film. And so it goes through the camera so quickly to still run it at speed. So that's just the limitation.
As the film is shot, all-terrain vehicles hurry it to a nearby ravine. 2 trucks contain portable darkrooms. The loader has to remove the exposed footage and replace it with fresh film to take back to the set. The film rolls have to be changed 3 times as often as regular film. The new footage will be rushed by courier to Los Angeles, where it will be processed and printed at a cost of $2,000 a roll. back on the set, the pressure is on to finish filming before sunset. Dirt and rubble whip the faces of the weary crew. It's going to be a gritty end to another 12-hour day on the set of one of the most action-packed movies ever made for the large format theater. Movies like Red Flag have them packing IMAX theaters in 36 countries, eager for thrills that are larger than life.
Direction of the IMAX, the installation of the IMAX screen. We're going to be the guys at the top of the steel, pulling the screen up.
IMAX screens are the centerpiece of more than 200 theaters around the world. Installing them takes patience, planning, and a lot of muscle.
To come up, okay, and this end to go down. Okay, stop right
15 men work under the supervision of an IMAX expert.
Okay, let's spin it. Slide down a little, the whole thing. Until you get that into the last row of seats.
The vinyl screen arrives like a massive roll of carpet. It's unwieldy, weighing more than 350 kilograms. It'll take all day to install. The installation crew wears safety harnesses. A fall from this height could be fatal. The screen is hefted on ropes like rigging on a tall ship.
Pull. Okay, stop. Untie those on the top, right? And coil them up. Don't let them drop, because if they whip, they can go through.
When the screen is secure, all the folds are removed. A wrinkle would ruin the image once the powerful projector lights up the screen. Getting the world's largest projector in place isn't easy either. It's the size of a small car, too big to get through a doorway. This job calls for power and maneuverability. A Sikorsky Super 61, capable of airlifting more than 400 kilograms, heaves components onto the construction site of this theater in British Columbia. Installers wrestle the load to the ground into what will eventually be the projection room. But that's nothing compared to the challenges faced by the builders of this science museum in St. Paul, Minnesota. It includes an IMAX theater designed to do double duty. There's a flat screen that towers 7 stories at the front of the theater. There's also the movable rotodome. It lowers over the audience like a giant helmet.
So the design operative that we set for ourselves was maximum flexibility, so that as the world changes and technology changes and our audiences change, that we can morph this theater and do more.
Traditional IMAX films can be shown on the flat screen, or the rotodome can be lowered in front of it to show movies shot specifically for the curved screen. The rotodome is the largest screen of its kind. It's as big and heavy as a blue whale. It's made of vinyl-coated aluminum panels over a steel framework. 2 steel armatures supported on either side. They move with the help of huge counterweights. The armatures are so massive, they had to be installed 18 months before the museum was finished. The show starts inside a glass-walled room. Audiences eagerly pass by the projection booth, where the projectionist has to hustle. She has only 10 minutes to load between shows. The first film today is a 38-minute documentary on the rainforest. The audience buzzes in anticipation. Meanwhile, the technician gets the high-precision IMAX projector ready. She cleans a key component of the lens system. The film is held snugly against it by a vacuum to keep the giant image steady. The projector is as big as they come, 1/2 ton, and it's complicated to load. IMAX film is big, but it's fragile. It runs from the main platter to a second one, so it doesn't have to be rewound. If it rips, that section of the film is ruined.
If you don't load the film exactly right, it goes very quickly. It goes at 6 feet a second. So as we say here, when things go wrong, they go wrong in a really big hurry.
The film passes through the projector in a rolling loop. This keeps it running quickly but smoothly. The film platter lies on its side because of the way the frames are placed on the strip. Back in the theater, the spectacle is underway. The lowering of the giant domed screen is part of the entertainment. It takes 4 minutes, and the audience loves it. After the screen is in place, a chain lift elevator hauls the projector on rails up to the theater. 3 large black tubes feed the back. One supplies it with electrical power, another keeps the projector cool, and a third helps keep it quiet. It climbs 3 stories. Then the lens makes a humble entrance into the middle of the seating. For almost an hour, the audience gets a spectacular look at jungle wildlife.
We literally do take people out of their, day-to-day, hour-to-hour world to transport them as a time machine would.
The dominance of ferns is ending, and the trees with different leaves, with trunks and spreading branches are beginning to appear.
The audience is knocked out by the size and superb clarity of the image. But it isn't just the look that gets them. It's the sound. When this tree falls in the forest, everybody hears. The audio punches through the 7-story screen from behind. The vinyl has 27 million tiny perforations. Superior sound is a trademark of the IMAX system. In the theater, you're surrounded by 6-channel digital audio. A subwoofer enhances the bass, so you feel the sound in your gut. In the Omni Theater, 4 speakers are mounted on the outside of the dome, and 2.5 tons of subwoofers are on the rear wall of the theater. It's nearly 300 times more powerful than the average home surround sound system.
Diversity, if undisturbed by major changes, leads to more diversity. Birds, related to the dinosaurs, diversify to many shapes and sizes.
More than 2 million people have come to the Omni Theater since it opened. It's one of the biggest attractions in St. Paul. Once the rainforest film is over, it's time to change movies. The projector heads home for the turnaround. The technician needs a forklift to carry the reel. It weighs as much as 2 people.
We're gonna have to lift it.
She takes it slow. The only thing keeping the film on the platter is gravity. The print is worth $40,000. IMAX fever has spread far beyond North America to countries such as France, where audiences catch movies that are out of this world. France is the only country in the world where you can fly like a butterfly without ever leaving your seat. You can watch a movie with a 180-degree image right at your feet. It's one of the colossal movie experiences you can have at Futuroscope, a theme park south of Paris. The park is devoted to movies, video, and the internet. There are 6 extreme screens here. They combine movie fantasy with architectural dreams.
It's difficult to express the future because you don't know how it's going to be.
Architect Denis Laming had to design futuristic architecture. He also had to incorporate the latest entertainment technology. This pipe organ gone wild is actually an IMAX movie theater called the Magic Carpet. The exterior is 5 kilometers of translucent tubing braced against the French weather.
Here you are in the Temple of Communication, and this building expresses the communication. It's a bouquet of fiber optic cable with mirrors directed on the sky on satellites.
The tops of the tubes may point to the sky and the future of satellite technology, but the real challenge was down below. The 12-story theater is the only one of its kind. It houses 2 mammoth flat screens, one in front of the audience and another slightly bigger under the floor. The lower screen sits at a 45-degree angle. The theater had to be excavated through layers of chalk, 7 stories underground. In order to see the underground screen, IMAX designed a double-layer glass floor. The upper layer has to be replaced every 2 years because of the damage from being walked on. The floor is strong enough to stop a bullet. But once the movie starts, the audience is on the edge of their seats. They accompany the monarch butterfly on its amazing journey from Canada to Mexico. Dual screens require a sophisticated dual projection system.
This is a completely automated system. There is no one in the control room. Since the movie is looped, the film runs continuously. We don't change reels.
There are separate projection rooms for each screen. The one for the main screen is upstairs. It houses the master projector. The film drops down 3 stories to the other projection room in the basement. In the lobby, visitors can check out the moving film through a fiberglass tube. They can also watch the underground projector through a glass ceiling.
Wow.
The 2 giant screens combine to create a new sensation. When you're in the audience, it feels like you're soaring over land and sea.
Every moviegoer dreams of flying. Here, people get the impression of soaring on a flying carpet, so the theater is called the Magic Carpet.
You even get to hang over the edge of Niagara Falls.
You kind of fly with it, and having the picture on the floor and looking down, you just really feel like you're floating over.
So I said, oh, I hope I won't be sick. But no, after all, I said, you're there and you can have a seat, so take a look.
Today, people want the ultimate cinema experience. The problem is, with extreme screens, everything is bigger, even the dirt. After the magic carpet ride ends, the cleaning begins, upstairs and down.
Because you can't see the dust. You can't see it at all. And the thing is, the next day, if you just have a small speck of dust, it looks like a great big stone in the middle of the screen.
It takes 45 minutes of elbow grease at the end of every day. Each component that touches the film has to be cleaned to the extreme. While the projectors at the Magic Carpet Theater are loaded for the next day, across the park, viewers are getting ready to be blasted into the next dimension.
Merci à tous.
One of the biggest attractions in the Futuroscope Park is the movie Race for Atlantis. It's the first permanent 3D IMAX simulator ride. It called for an ingenious theater. Architect Denis Leming wanted the building to be as impressive as the film inside. He dreamt up an 11-story glass cube with a concrete cylinder suspended inside. But in reality, the cylinder holds up the glass.
So the surprise comes from the magnetic cylinder, which is suspended on glass. And it expresses what's inside. It's incurved like the screen is incurved in the movie.
Race for Atlantis is shown on a 9-story hemispheric screen. Special headsets create the illusion of depth. With a 3D film, 2 images are projected on the screen at the same time. One represents the right eye, the other the left eye. The headsets have filters corresponding to those in the projectors. Each lens becomes opaque in turn, according to infrared signals. The brain combines what each eye sees, and the picture seems to float right in front of you. With the push of a button, the 3D film rolls, and 4 platforms of 25 seats rise up, ready for action. There's nothing to do but hold on tight.
Regardez où vous allez! C'est parti! Surtout, tire pas! Abandonnez maintenant ou jamais! Bienvenue, monsieur Larme!
The audience goes on a roller coaster ride through the mythical world of Atlantis. Everything on screen is computer generated. 1 minute, you're going straight ahead. The next, you're falling. You're in the action, but the seats are in control, rocking you up, down, and sideways. Terror is part of the fun. The 3D projection system makes objects jump out of the screen.
When the dragon comes in front of the face, is very frightening. Terrible.
To prevent the theater from being wrecked by all the rocking and rolling, it has a double floor. The extra layer of cement absorbs the motion of the simulator seats and the vibrations from the powerful sound system. The pods of seats are controlled by 3 double-action hydraulic cylinders protected by fabric.
One rear cylinder creates the front-to-back motion. The cylinder on the right side creates movement like this, and on the left, a movement like that.
The hydraulic system moves the seats in all directions. The technology was originally designed by the aeronautics industry to give pilots the sensation of flying. The seat movements are coordinated with the actions in the 3D film through a software system that requires just a single technician.
Vous avez sauvé Atlantis!
Voilà, j'espère que ça s'est bien passé pour tout le monde, messieurs, dames, tout le monde va bien?
The combination of motion simulation and 3D animation started in amusement parks. Now it's a craze. Audiences want an immersive experience. The more intense, the better. Race for Atlantis may be the ultimate high in this European theme park, but much of its technology comes from across the Atlantic, from thrill factories like this one in Burbank, California. For the past 20 years, SimX iWorks has specialized in the conception and engineering of commercial entertainment systems. Don Brunel used to design race cars.
Where a lot of people would like to do, like in NASCAR, they like to be in a race car, or they like to be in a jet fighter and experience it. You can do all this in this and never leave the same spot you sat in it.
These seats can pull 1G. They have built-in sensors to make sure people have their seatbelts on. Signals are fed via cable to a computer system. Electronics determine piston timing. This black rubber ball is filled with fluid. It prevents excessive pounding, like the shock absorbers in your car. These seats may be complex, but they're tough.
They're built as solid as we can make it, like a tank, you know, as we looked at for long term for people to keep riding it. You don't want to shut a theater down or have a showstopper because of one minor little thing, so we kind of researched and tried to get the best of the best at the time.
If the show must go on, the seats have to last. In this life cycle test, they're loaded with 68-kilogram water dummies. The movements for a 15-minute show are compressed into 30 seconds so technicians can check for signs of wear.
Currently, we've ran 3,800 cycles. We'll run this test 24 hours a day for approximately a month.
But in the entertainment industry, commercial success is short-lived. It takes more than simulated motion seats to amaze audiences. It takes movies that are literally in your face.
Now, brace yourself as we take you across the threshold of our haunted mansion, where there's a ghost for everyone in the family. Father, mother, sister, brother.
For more than a century, moviegoers have enjoyed a good scare and a good laugh.
Monster Musical. The incredibly strange creatures who stopped living and became mixed-up zombies.
But today, we expect more than grotesque makeup and 1950s storylines.
Can a zombie woman's hunger for love repopulate the earth?
Here's what the newest thrillers look like. They're 4D. That's a 3D image, plus special effects. You don't just see the film, you actually feel it. Everything from a blast of cold air to a face full of water. At SeaWorld in San Diego, a theater was retrofitted to show a single 4D horror movie. R.L. Stein's Haunted Lighthouse. It was a multi-million-dollar transformation. The exterior was updated. The interior had to be gutted without disturbing the basic structure.
Part of that was to demo out the front area and then to bring in the excavators. To bring in the excavators, we had to dig down quite a ways, and then also deflate the tires to be able to have clearance to be able to get the excavators in there for the amount of demolition that had to be done.
What used to be a two-level traditional theater was converted into a single level. Then the construction crew installed 700 high-tech seats and the latest 4D effects from IMAX iWorks. One of the major effects is water shot from the front of the theater and sprayed from the ceiling. Afterwards, it takes more than mopping up.
It's all sloped to go down to the drain so that before the next show comes in, everything has drained away and there's not as much evidence of what's happened on the previous show, so that it still leaves a little element of surprise.
The other 4D effects are built right into the seats.
We have sound coming through the back, so every person in the whole audience is going to have their own individual sound. We also have air effects that come through the back of the seat in 2 locations. And then the last effect that we've got here is the rat tail effect. There's a plastic tube that comes out here from the air assembly. And when the seat is in the down position, we're able to get the effect, the rat tail effect.
All the special effects have to be carefully synchronized with the 3D projection system upstairs. The projectionist wears gloves to keep from damaging the film, and he never wants to come in contact with the xenon bulb. Its light is so powerful, it could be seen from the moon.
This is the lamp that we use in these projectors. These are 7,000 watt xenon lamps. They put out long wave ultraviolet, so they will sunburn you, and they will do immediate, instant damage if you happen to look directly at them. So we have it pretty much set up that you cannot look at them.
An air cooling system prevents the bulb from exploding. The 3D film gets special treatment too. It loops through an accumulator cabinet where rubber rollers help in the constant battle against dirt. The audience doesn't mind getting a free shower with their movie. It costs several $1 million to make Haunted Lighthouse. They get to see it as part of their admission ticket to the park.
I think that the audience really gets to be in the movie as opposed to just watching the movie.
Companies like IMAX iWorks are constantly trying to anticipate the next trend.
Our challenge is to find what are the next sort of generation of effects or film content even that the audience wants to see.
While technical wizards keep dreaming up new thrills, the entertainment industry keeps pushing the frontier of new technology. It's a continual race to satisfy the demand for bigger and better entertainment. Whether it's digital, 3D, or 4D, we yearn for an experience beyond what we can have in real life. We're not content to just watch the big picture. We want to be blown away by it.
The inside story of the steps we're taking to prepare for an inevitable asteroid hit on Earth, Sunday. The Mythbusters put their safety and sanity on the line as they uncover the truth that lies behind urban legends on Mythbusters, Sunday. Master bike fabricators Chica and Mike Police face off, Monday, on Biker Build-Off.
people feel like